The mission at Hope Cancer Care Nevada is to provide world-class care closer to home. I'm Dr. Mehdi. I'm a medical oncologist and founder of Hope Cancer Care of Nevada.
This is Eye on Cancer with Dr. Mehdi and Linda Cass.
Good evening and welcome. I'm Linda Cass and you're watching Eye on Cancer, where you get your questions answered. We are not a live call-in show, but you can call in with your questions to 775-727-9400, or you can email to eoc@kpvm.tv. That's Eye on Cancer, EOC, at kpvm.tv. And I'm here with Pahrumph's own medical oncologist, my doctor, Dr. M, Dr. Raja Mehdi. Hi,
Thank
Doctor.
you, Linda. How are you?
I'm doing just fine this week.
Good.
And we are answering questions that you are answering questions that people want answers to.
I like it. I see the list of questions growing.
Yeah,
so
people
that's
are calling
great.
in and they're asking intelligent questions that that they don't have access to people who can answer, and that does my heart good. I am so privileged to be here. Thank you for
Likewise.
Oh, this is just the best. So let's just jump right to it. Our first question is, does fiber help with colon cancer after cancer has formed, or is it only a preventative measure? What's your take on that, Doctor?
It's a very common question. It's a good one. Fiber is generally good for colon health. It bulks up the stool, decreases the transit time through the colon, so the toxins have less time in contact with the colon. Also, it increases the water content so that the toxins are kind of diluted. Those are the theoretical advantages of fiber. In terms of proving that fiber can decrease the risk of cancer has been controversial. For many years, that has been postulated, but in 1999, they did a big study that failed to prove it. Now, that could be a matter of the study design, but nonetheless, fiber is good for health overall. So yes, there are some proponents of the theory that the fiber will prevent cancer. But once you have cancer, the fiber is not going to actually reverse the process once the cancer has formed. But it will help with general colon health. If patients are taking pain medicine, which a lot of cancer patients are on, the fiber will help prevent constipation and bowel blockage that can be an issue. So overall, I would say that fiber is a thumbs up.
Okay,
Yeah.
and that begs the question now, do you work or have you ever worked with nutritionists with your patients?
Yes, we have two nutritionists in the Las Vegas area that we routinely facilitate the patients' referrals and appointments. Unfortunately, a lot of insurances don't cover nutrition consults. So a lot of patients have to pay out of pocket, and some of them will do, some of them will do it if the insurance covers it,
Got it.
but not if it doesn't.
Yeah.
Now, you don't necessarily need to have a consult. There is a very good website cancer.org, and that's maintained by the American Cancer Society.
Yes.
Very easy to navigate, and there's I think at least a 20-page section on nutrition.
Okay.
Vitamins, supplements, and I think that's well researched. So
Okay.
I generally, routinely tell patients to go over there.
All
There's a
right.
link to that on my website also in the patient information section.
That's right. Okay, so there are resources out there. Okay, we have another question. You said that on the last show, bone cancer pain usually doesn't move and doesn't go away. Could the symptoms mimic those of arthritis?
This is a tricky one.
Okay.
And I want to spend some time on this one.
Okay, so we may go into another segment on this one. Okay.
Sure.
All right.
Sure. Because cancer pain or arthritic pain can mimic a lot of things, and I would like to go over the specific joints that that could be either or.
And he doesn't mean beer joints, you guys. Sorry, I'm sorry.
So yes, it can mimic, especially pain around the hip area, lower back, or the mid back for that matter.
Yeah.
The shoulder joints, mainly the upper torso. Typically, metastatic cancer, for some reason, is very rare to go below the hips, meaning to the knees or the ankles. That's uncommon.
Okay, if you could define metastatic.
Metastatic is where the cancer starts in another organ and then goes to the bone. By far, in adult population, that is the presentation. Primary bone cancer is very rare. So I would say 80 to 90% of the cancers that show up in the bone have started somewhere else, like the lung, breast, colon, and then move to the bone.
Okay.
So,
well, we're going to have to take a short break here. And so, once again, you can phone in your questions, 727-9400, or EOC at kpvm.tv, and get your questions answered and at a later broadcast. And we're going to continue with our discussion of the bone cancer symptoms and the how to recognize and maybe even some things that we could do to help understand it. And so we'll be back. Stay tuned. You are watching Eye on Cancer. I'm Linda Cass. This is not a live broadcast, folks. You can get your questions answered by phoning in 727-9400, or you can email them in to eoc at kpvm.tv. That's for Eye on Cancer. And in the previous segment, we were talking about bone cancer, and Dr. Raja Mehdi, our medical oncologist right here in Pahrump, has some answers. And in conjunction with this, I have always been very afraid of my breast cancer turning into bone cancer, because that happens sometimes. Luckily, so far not. But I also have the arthritis that this person is talking about, and I suffer some severe pain sometimes. When is it an indication that you have bone cancer, and when would you recommend that you talk to your doctor about it?
First of all, if you've had cancer before, any kind of cancer.
Okay.
And like I said in the previous segment, that generally you don't get primary bone cancer.
Okay.
It goes from someplace to the bone.
Okay.
So if you've had a cancer before, certainly that's, you should look out for it more. Any pain that's lasting longer than 2 weeks, I would say, and it's persistent, does not move around or go up and down a lot, meaning if it's in one joint today, the other one, the next day. Typically, cancer doesn't do that. The cancer pain does not go up and down during the day. Like some arthritis patients have pain early in the morning, and then it gets better as they move around.
Yes, yes.
Those kind of things don't happen typically with cancer.
Okay.
So those are some of the differentiating factors between arthritic pain and cancer. But arthritis is more common in older population, and so is cancer. So I think if there's anything that has gotten your attention and is out of the blue, you need to check with your doctor.
Okay, that is good advice. That actually makes me feel better because, the arthritis, that's how it goes with me. I get up in the morning and, I try to get up in the morning sometimes. And, but you're right, during the day, it does get better. So then the arthritis pain it fluctuates, but cancer pain mostly wouldn't. And okay, thank you for that. And you mentioned that your patients were asking you some questions?
We had a couple of patients call us after seeing the show and were asking if they can access cancer care here in Param, since we're the only providers who provide actual chemotherapy infusion service in town. Most of the patients are, even if they have a doctor come here and seek for consultation, they are obligated sometimes to go to Las Vegas because of insurance companies' contractual obligations.
Right.
So I did some research on specifically the Medicare Advantage programs. So, and I didn't know that, and I'm sure a lot of patients don't, that if you had Medicare, if you're 65 and older, have Medicare, and an insurance company has taken over that as a Medicare Advantage program, you can see a provider that you choose, and they can be out of network. And still, if it's a Medicare covered service, the insurance company has to accommodate you at the Medicare rates.
Okay.
So the actual, I found an article from September 2013, which is fairly recent.
Yeah.
And these are in the guidelines because when these Medicare Advantage programs get a license from Medicare, they have to abide by these.
Oh, so,
and most patients don't know that. They just get scared by, by the insurance company and the red tape.
Yes.
And it specifically reads that coordinated care plans such as HMOs and PPOs and Medicare Advantage plans are generally required to reimburse non-contracting providers at least the original Medicare rate for Medicare covered services.
Okay.
So rather than just traveling or getting the hardship, and that's not only for cancer care, for other providers also.
Okay.
So for any provider that accepts Medicare, and you have a Medicare Advantage program, you should make an appointment with that provider and show them this letter.
Okay.
And I believe that we're going to have this link on the station's Facebook page.
Oh, okay.
So there's a web link to this article. This is a 28-page article, pretty comprehensive.
Okay.
And on the very first page, it states
that.
Yep.
Well, an informed public doesn't spend so much money. I thank you for that.
Absolutely, because it's your right. You have paid into Medicare, so you deserve that service. So we'll find something for patients who are on non-Medicare plans too, but for Medicare patients, I think this is pretty comprehensive.
It's written. Okay. Well, I think we have time for one more question.
Sure.
How does the process of chemotherapy work, and what is the difference between chemo and blood transfusion therapy?
Good question. The chemotherapy essentially works on rapidly dividing cells. So it's a chemical that'll go in, say, in a cancer cell and kind of disrupt it. So then the cancer cell cannot repair itself and eventually it dies. Blood transfusion is nothing like chemotherapy. Blood transfusion is only supplementing your red blood cells so that they can carry more oxygen and then to all the organs. So that's just like a replacement of a blood product.
Okay.
So that will not do anything to the cancer cell.
So it's not therapeutic
It's
at all?
not therapeutic.
Okay.
This is more symptomatic.
Okay.
So if you are on chemotherapy or the cancer is causing anemia, you can get a blood transfusion and quickly replenish your store so you can function better. And will be able to handle the chemotherapy better.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, so there you go. Well, if you need your questions answered, and most of us do, we have access to the expert here, you can call in 727-9400, or you can email eoc@kpvm.tv, and we'll be back in just a minute. Stay tuned.